Hey everyone, welcome back to Safe Simple Sound. This is your host PK. Today we are talking about something vital for everyone's financial journey, understanding how our natural behaviors impact our financial decisions. This episode is inspired by our recent series, episodes 46 through 48, and a companion article titled The Evolution of Financial Confidence. Details are available in the show notes. Just like our mascot Shelby the Tortoise carries her protective shell, we all carry behavior patterns that can either protect or sometimes hinder our financial progress. This article highlights how these patterns evolve throughout our lives and how understanding them can empower us to make better choices. One of the most compelling takeaways is the realization that these patterns aren't flaws, but natural mental shortcuts that can be incredibly useful when we learn to work with them. The article also introduces the idea of financial journey as a winding path, with different biases impacting us at different stages. This resonates deeply with our belief here at Safe Simple Sound in embracing financial flexibility and adapting our strategies as life changes. So, to navigate this winding path, we will be exploring three key life stages and their associated behavior biases in today's episode. First, we will dive into the digital natives paradox, focusing on how optimism bias can affect young professionals aged 25 to 34. We will examine how their tech savviness can sometimes lead to overlooking crucial security measures. Next, we will move on to the family's security paradox, exploring how status quo bias can impact those between 35 and 44. We will discuss the challenges of balancing family responsibilities with evolving security threats, highlighting the importance of creating safety net, a core principle of our secured approach. Finally, we will tackle the peak earners challenge, looking at how the control illusion can impact those aged 45 to 54. We will discuss how increased wealth can sometimes lead to false sense of security, emphasizing why seizing financial control, another cornerstone of our secured approach, is essential at every stage of financial journey. Get ready for a fascinating exploration of our natural financial tendencies and how we can harness them to create a more secured financial life. Let's dive in. We start with the first stage of financial journey, the digital natives paradox, focusing on those of us between ages 25 to 34. So, what is this paradox? Well, it's the interesting tension between being incredibly tech savvy and potentially overlooking crucial security measures. We, as digital natives, are incredibly comfortable online. We are practically fluent in the language of the internet. This comfort, however, can sometimes lead to optimism bias when it comes to financial security. We tend to think, it won't happen to me. I know what I'm doing online. This optimism bias can show up in few ways. Think about it. How often do you see friends sharing exciting financial news online? A new car, a down payment on a house, a big investment win. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement and want to share your own wins too. But oversharing financial details online, even seemingly harmless ones, can make you a target. It's like leaving a trail of breadcrumbs for potential scammers. Another manifestation of this bias is password reuse. We are juggling so many accounts, it's tempting to use the same password across multiple platforms, especially in your financial apps. We think I'll remember it better this way, or my passwords are strong enough anyway. But if one account gets compromised, then all become vulnerable. It's like using the same key for your house, your car, and your safety deposit box. And finally, we tend to mimic the perceived financial wins of our peers. We see someone our age investing in cryptocurrency or a trendy stock, and we think, if they're doing it, it must be a safe bet. But what works for one person might not work for another, and mimicking without understanding the risk can lead to financial trouble. It's like following a recipe without knowing what the ingredients are. So, how do we combat this optimism bias and protect ourselves? The answer is surprisingly simple: the 24-hour rule. Before sharing any financial information online, wait 24 hours. This cooling off period allows you to step back from the initial excitement and think more rationally about potential risks. It gives you time to ask yourself, is this information really necessary to share, or could this potentially compromise my security? Building strong security habits early on is like laying a solid foundation for a house. It might seem tedious at first, but crucial for long-term stability. Let's recap. As digital natives, we are comfortable with technology, but this comfort can sometimes make us overly optimistic about our financial security. This can lead to oversharing online, reusing passwords, and mimicking the perceived financial wins of our peers, all potentially risky behaviors. The 24-hour rule is a simple yet powerful tool to combat this bias and protect ourselves. Your call to action this week: implement the 24-hour rule before sharing any financial information online and take time to review your online security practices. Are your passwords unique and strong? Are you using two-factor authentication wherever possible? These small steps can make a big difference in protecting your financial future. Now, we are shifting gears to talk about the slightly older cohort, those of us between 35 and 44. We are often juggling careers, kids, maybe even aging parents. Sounds familiar? This is a stage where we face what we call the family security paradox. This life stage brings unique challenges to financial security, and a big one is what behavioral economists call the status quo bias. Think of it like this: you have a favorite comfy chair, right? Even if it's a bit worn, you stick with it because it's familiar. Well, we do the same thing with our security practices. We cling to what we know, even if it's outdated. Our first key point is this: families in this life stage often stick to those familiar but potentially outdated security practices. We are busy, we are tired, and changing things up feels like one more thing to do on the to-do list. This means we might resist updating our software, keep using that old filing cabinet overflowing with important documents, or shy away from new digital tools, even if they offer better protection. Which leads us to our second point. This bias against change shows up in predictable ways. Maybe you haven't updated your password in years, or we are still using the same simple password across multiple accounts. Maybe our important documents are scattered, some digital, some paper, making it a nightmare to locate anything when we need it. Or perhaps we are hesitant to use password managers or two-factor authentication, sticking with what feels safe, even if it's not the most secure one. The reality though is that this age group is often dealing with what we call the sandwich generation squeeze. We are managing finances for our kids, maybe helping out our aging parents, all while trying to secure our own financial future. This complexity demands more efficient, up-to-date security measures, and that's our third key point. Trying to manage everything with outdated systems is like trying to build a skyscraper with hand tools. You might get there eventually, but it's going to be a lot harder and riskier than using the right equipment. This brings us to the final point. Regularly reviewing and updating security practices is absolutely crucial for protecting families' assets across generations. Think of it like getting regular checkups with the doctor. You don't wait till you are sick to go, right? The same principle applies to your financial security. So let's take a moment to reflect. Are you holding on to any outdated security practices out of habit? Where could you streamline and strengthen your family's financial security? Are you taking advantage of new tools and technologies that could simplify and improve your security? To wrap up, we have talked about status quo bias and how it can lead to outdated security practices, especially during the busy years of raising a family and managing multi-generational finances. We have also discussed how the sandwich generation squeeze makes adapting to more efficient security practices absolutely essential. Remember, sticking with what's familiar might feel safe, but it could be leaving your family vulnerable. So here is your call to action. Schedule a family financial security checkup. Talk to a financial advisor. Research new protective measures. And explore tools that can help you streamline and strengthen your family's financial security. Don't wait till something goes wrong. Be proactive. Now let's shift our focus to another critical life stage, the peak earning years. Typically between 45 and 54, we will be exploring what we call the peak earners challenge. This is the time when many of us reach the pinnacle of our careers, enjoying greater financial stability and hopefully a growing portfolio. But ironically, this very success can create a new vulnerability, a sort of financial blind spot. It's what we call the control illusion. Think of it like this. Imagine a seasoned mountain climber. They have conquered numerous peaks, their experience and skills are undeniable. But sometimes, that very confidence can lead them to underestimate a new challenge, perhaps neglecting a crucial safety check or dismissing a weather warning. The same can happen with your finances. Increased wealth can foster a sense of invulnerability, leading to decreased vigilance in our security. This manifests in a few key ways. First, we might develop overconfidence in our financial resilience. We think, I can handle any financial hit that comes my way, perhaps downplaying the potential impact of a cyber attack or identity theft. Second, we might start neglecting security updates, whether it's our software, online accounts, or even physical security measures for our homes and businesses. We are just too busy, too focused on bigger picture to worry about the seemingly small details. And finally, we might even dismiss expert advice thinking, I have got this figured out. This can be especially true for entrepreneurs who have built their own success and feel they know the best. But the reality is, greater wealth actually requires more sophisticated protection, not less. Think about it. Managing a complex portfolio, perhaps including business assets, real estate, and multiple investment accounts, create a much larger target for potential threats. It's like having a bigger, more valuable house. It needs more robust security system. So what can you do to counter this control illusion? First, acknowledge that even with great wealth, you are not immune to financial risks. Second, prioritize security updates and practices, just like you would prioritize maintenance for a valuable car or piece of equipment. And third, stay informed and be open to seeking expert advice. A financial advisor can help you assess current security measures and identify potential vulnerabilities. They can also provide tailored strategies to protect your wealth and ensure your long-term financial well-being. Let's recap. The Peak Earners Challenge is about recognizing that increased wealth can paradoxically create a false sense of security, leading to decreased vigilance. Overconfidence, neglecting updates, and dismissing expert advice are all manifestations of this control illusion. But remember, greater wealth requires greater protection, not less. So, my call to action for you today is this. Consult with a financial advisor. Take a fresh look at your current security measures and ask yourself, are they truly adequate for the level of wealth you have accumulated? Are you being as vigilant as you need to be? We have been talking about how our natural tendencies, those ingrained behavioral patterns, can impact our financial decisions at different stages. We have seen how digital native optimism, the family protector status quo bias, and the peak earners control illusion can shape our choices, sometimes for better, sometimes, well, not so much. But what if I told you these tendencies aren't flaws? They are actually tools waiting to be harnessed. We are going to unpack the secured approach, a framework designed to help you do just that. The secured approach isn't about fighting your instincts, it's about understanding them, working with them, and building a secure financial strategy that aligns with your natural decision-making style. Think of it like training a spirited horse. You don't break its spirit. You learn to guide its energy and power in a productive direction. So what does secured stand for? It's more than just an acronym, it's a roadmap. First, seizing financial control. This means understanding your unique financial situation and working with your instincts, not against them. Are you naturally cautious? Great, let's build on that. Are you more of a risk taker? Fantastic, let's find smart tools to channel that energy. The point is, your patterns are there for a reason. Let's make them work for you. Next, embracing mastery. This is all about knowing yourself. Think about how you make decisions in other areas of your life. Do you jump in head first? Or do you prefer to carefully weigh in all the options? Understanding your decision-making style can illuminate how you approach your finances and help you anticipate potential blind spots. The rest of the acronym, creating safety nets, understanding choices, reaping benefits, embracing flexibility, and developing legacy, are all interconnected pieces of this holistic approach. Imagine building a house. Creating safety nets is like laying a strong foundation. Understanding choices is about selecting the right materials. Reaping benefits is enjoying the finished product, and embracing flexibility and developing legacy are all about ensuring your house can adapt to changing needs and stand the test of time. Let's bring this back to real life. Imagine you're a young professional just starting out. The secured approach encourages you to channel that natural optimism, but temper it with practical steps like setting up an emergency fund and creating strong passwords. For those juggling with family responsibilities, the secured approach helps you recognize the value of your cautious nature while encouraging you to explore new tools and technologies to streamline your financial management. And for those in peak earning years, the secured approach encourages you to maintain that well-earned confidence while reminding you to stay vigilant and adaptable in a changing financial landscape. So what are the key takeaways? The secured approach is a holistic framework that integrates behavioral awareness into financial planning. It's about understanding your natural tendencies, leveraging your strengths, and mitigating potential biases to achieve long-term financial well-being. I encourage you to reflect on your own decision-making style and think about how secured approach might benefit you. Are you ready to take control of your financial journey and make your natural tendencies work for you not against you. We will dive deeper into each of the components of secured approach in future episodes. But for now, I encourage you to learn more by visiting our website at safesimplesound.com/about. And there you have it, a journey through the winding path of our financial lives. Today we explored how our natural behavior patterns, those mental shortcuts we all carry like Shelby's shell, can influence our financial decisions at different stages. We discussed the digital native paradox and the pull of optimism bias, the family security paradox and the comfort of status quo, and the peak earners challenge and the illusion of control. Just like the article highlighted, understanding these patterns is key to making them work for us, not against us. I particularly enjoyed our discussion around the sandwich generation squeeze. It really brought home the importance of adapting our security measures as our responsibilities grow. And the 24-hour rule, such a simple yet powerful tool to counter the impulse to overshare. Thank you all for tuning into Safe Simple Sound. I truly appreciate you joining me into this exploration of financial behavior. Be sure to check our show notes for links to the articles and resources we mentioned. And please subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. Remember, just like Shelby navigating her path, we can all navigate our financial journeys with confidence by understanding our own tendencies. Stay safe, stay sound, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon. This is PK, signing off.